Hey there everyone. Today I want to talk about this reverse osmosis water filter here from SimPure. And if you're like me, we sort of forget about reverse osmosis because it's because of our preconceived notions. You know, we think they're really expensive. We think they're really bulky. We think that they have to be tied into the plumbing line, you know, hooked to the kitchen sink. And along with that, some of these, quite a few of these, waste quite a bit of water. Hey man, that's a pretty cool looking filter. You need a hand with this? No man, I'm good, thank you. Okay, you're lost. That guy, I'll tell you what. At any rate, from a preparedness perspective, we tend to think about the portable water filters like the Sawyer Mini, the Life Straw, even the Big Berkey, which is a countertop filter, the Grail water filters, all of these different filters that we can take and use if you know, the grid is down, the water supply isn't coming to the house. All of these different situations where we can take control of that and filter our own water as long as we have water storage or as long as we have somewhere to find that water. And I think even, you know, preppers do this quite a bit, but I think everybody should do this as well because you just never know when you're not going to have the availability of that city water, of the, you know, the electric pumps and all of those different things. When your faucet runs dry, you're going to want to have an option. And while this SimPure is electric powered, it only takes about 30 watts, so you're going to be able to use a small portable generator like a Jackery or something like that to power this on and get water. All right, so in the video today, I'm going to do a complete breakdown of this. I'm going to show you exactly how to use this straight out of the box. We're going to replace the filters, fill up the tank, filter some water. I'm going to do a total dissolved solids test to see how much this will take out straight from my well. We'll do a test, and we'll do a test after this, and also my refrigerator filter, and we'll see what the difference is with all those. Also, I'm going to filter out this nasty water right here, which is water that it's basically just dirt in there that I pre-filtered, but we're going to see what it does with this. And then at the end, I'll go through, you know, some of the pros and cons of this entire unit here. But let's go ahead and get into that now, start breaking this down. All right, so straight out of the box, this comes pretty well packaged, really well packaged. It's got the filters included in it. It's got this instruction manual, which is really detailed, very good instructions. You don't see that a lot these days. Along with that, they've got their website, which just has a whole bunch of information on exactly what this does and what you can expect from it. Fantastic the way they put up their website. This is available there or at Amazon. I'll make sure and leave both of those links in the description below. So let's go ahead and plug this in. What I want to do first before we flush this whole system is just show you how to replace the filters. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And then we will go ahead and flush this system. We'll test it out with the water, and then we'll test with the dissolved solids as well. So let's go ahead and plug this in, fill up this tank. And all you do here is basically the back right here. This just pulls up and this starts beeping now because it's telling me I need to fill the tank. So we're going to go ahead and fill this tank. All right, now before we put this tank back on, what I want to do is show you how to change these filters right here. Now this is the carbon filter. I believe this is a composite filter. It's got the PP filter as well as the activated carbon. PP stands for polypropylene, I believe. And then it's got the reverse osmosis filter. Now to replace these, you would take this out, and I believe that this bottom styrofoam piece is just for packing, but I'm going to keep it in there until it falls apart just because I like its sturdiness in there. But what you do is just pull these out this way. You turn clockwise until it pops off just like that. Same thing for the other filter, and I've used this a few times, so this has got a little bit of water in here. I'm going to try not to get these to leak too much, but that's how you replace those. And then you would just take the new filters, put them on the opposite way, and put this one on here. And then I'll put this on later. I'm going to leave that out for now. But these go on just like that. So now we are ready to put this tank on. And once you put the tank on, the machine will start to go to work. So as you can see, what it's doing now is it's filling up the inner reservoir. And how this works, let me turn it this way so you can see. How this works is basically it takes the water from the tank, it goes into the activated carbon filter and the polypropylene filter, and then it goes through the reverse osmosis filter where it finally sits in the storage tank, which is about 12 or 13 cups, I believe. And this is basically your clean water reservoir. So in there, it basically sits before it, once you dispense it, then it goes through the UV filter at the end, the fourth stage of this, and it comes out of the glass right there. So we'll let this run. What this does is it fills up the inner tank, and it takes about 6 minutes to do that. So not real quick, but not super long. And you've got water right there, 12 cups of water just sitting there ready for you to use. If you use 2 cups of that water, it refills 2 more cups. So it's always going to have 12 cups in there. As long as you don't need to use more than 12 cups, you're going to be okay. So let's let this fill up, and then we will flush the system just like we put brand new filters in this, like you should do every time you put brand new filters in this. Flush the system 2-3 times, and then we'll test some water. So as this tank is filling right here, what you'll see on the front panel, there are different sensors on here, different lights, and one of them will say, water tank is empty. This one right now says filtering, which means it's filtering that water and putting it into that inner tank. The UV light on means that the UV filter is actually working, so that's a good thing. And then once this is all done, this flushing light will flash, and then we can flush the system. In the instruction manual, there are a bunch of it shows you all the different lights that are on here. It'll tell you when your tank is empty, you need to replace it. It will tell you when the filters have reached the end of their lifespan, which is about 6 months. And then there's a reset button. After you replace the filters, you can reset the whole system to make sure you're starting off from scratch. So at this point, you can hear it a little bit right here. The flushing light just turned on. So what we're going to do is grab a pitcher. Now you're going to need either one big container or a couple smaller containers, because this will, like I said, this puts out about 16 cups. So what we're going to do is flush this whole system, and I'll show you some of the buttons on here. You can stop it as it's going too. So you could use 1 cup if you needed to, but let me grab a cup and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so we'll put this in front right here. It does have this plate, but I've got it on this Lazy Susan right here, so that's not going to work, but this will be just fine. So up here, all you do is you hit the flushing button, and it will start to flush, and it won't stop. So you're going to have to replace these cups as it goes. Now, if you did want to stop it, you can do that. So we'll just go ahead and finish this right here. And I'll show you, we'll just switch it out right here. Let's replace this one more time. And just to be safe, do it once more. Okay, now that this is finishing up here, this is flashing water shortage. That means the inner tank is basically empty. What it's going to do now is automatically start refilling that inner tank with the water that's still in the back here. This back portion is 1.3 gallons of water, and you can basically fill up the inner tank 2 times with one fill of this. And then the light will come on. It says you need to replace the water, and you just dump out the excess water because reverse osmosis discards some water. That's one of the drawbacks from reverse osmosis. But this one you only waste about 20% of the water in this. So that's gray water that you have at that point. You don't necessarily need to throw it out, but you probably don't want to drink it because all of the stuff that it just took out is probably concentrated in there, and probably not a good idea. But now that we're going to let this refill one more time, and then we're going to do some tests here. I'm going to get some different water from straight out of the well, or the faucet, which is straight out of the well, one from my refrigerator filter, and then one from this, and we'll see how they all stack up together. Okay, so while this is still filtering water into the inner tank, it's full enough now we could actually get some water out of it. So what I've got here is I've got water straight from the well right here. I've got water out of my refrigerator, which passes through the refrigerator filter. And then I'm going to fill up this cup right here with some of this reverse osmosis water, and we'll see what we get. After that, I am going to put some of this inside this tank and see how this comes out, and test this and see what the reverse osmosis does with this. Now this water right here is basically just water that I put dirt in and let it sit there for a little while, and then I pre-filtered all the crud out of there because I don't want to ruin these. I don't want to put these filters under too much stress because I don't want to ruin them. I am going to buy some more because these are basically test filters, but I don't want to. I want to be able to use them a little bit. So we're going to put this through and see how this works as well. But let's get the total dissolved solids tester and see how these work. All right, first let's fill up this cup. Okay, so now we've got all three of ours, and I'm going to test this. I don't know that you're going to be able to see this. I will try to make sure that you can, though. But first we'll test the well water straight out of the well. We're getting about 146. So not bad. My well water isn't terrible, and I test it quite often. But about 146 straight out of the well. This water from my refrigerator, it's giving me a reading of about 109, 110, somewhere in that range. So it took it down, but not a whole lot, but it took it down. Again, both of these are safe. It's not like they're terrible, but let's go ahead and see what the reverse osmosis one did. All right, so the reverse osmosis water right here, it's down to about 16. And I've done this a few times, and usually the readings are anywhere between 11 and 20. So it takes it down a whole lot compared to just your average filter right here, which again is reading about 112. And then straight out of the well, we're at about 153. So it takes, as far as total dissolved solids, it takes a lot out. Now this is not a full extensive test. This is just total dissolved solids, but it gives you an idea about what exactly this is doing. And if you taste the water here, woo! That's fantastic.
And that's what I call high quality H2O.
Oh! All right, just kidding. It's water. So it's good water, but it's just water. So, it's not like this machine will turn water into beer. Beer, 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 beer. That would be fantastic if it did, but it didn't. But now what I want to do is I want to run that dirty water through this machine. So I'm going to fill up this tank let me get rid of these water glasses. I'm going to fill up this tank almost full, and then I'm going to pour this dirty nastiness in there, and we are going to put it through the machine and see how it works. So let's pop this off. Okay, I've got it filled up about halfway. What we're going to do is dump some of this nastiness in there, and we're going to filter this through and see how everything works. There's a fill line up here, so we don't want to go over that, and we didn't. That is some disgusting looking water. But let's see. Let's put the machine to the test and see how it does. So we will throw this back on here. Let it do its filtering process where it fills up the inner tank. And then we are going to test some of this out and see how clear it is. First of all, we're going to test the dissolved solids, and then I'll take a drink and see if it tastes like water. All right, so it's done filtering into the inner tank now. What I forgot to mention was I had to flush, before I put this dirty water in, I flushed the entire inner tank out so it filled up with the dirty water, completely dirty water. So what we're going to do is put this through and see what this water comes out and test the total dissolved solids on it. So we'll go with the largest one here. We'll let that run. And as you can see, it's pretty clear. Yeah, that looks fantastic. And I'll see if I can get this closer without the focus messing up on me. But it looks really good. Now, I guess the big test is, can you taste the dirt? Again, it tastes just like the other water. It tastes just like you would expect water to taste. No flavor, no anything at all. No aftertaste, no grit, no anything. So it does a really good job of filtering out what it's supposed to. Now, this is not, I'll go into a little bit more detail about why this isn't the same as an under-the-counter filter, but for a countertop water filter that's reverse osmosis, this is going to get more stuff out of your water than just about any filter that you can get. So I'm pretty pleased with this. All right, so I've been using this water filter for a few days now, and I gotta say I love it. It's really convenient, looks nice on the countertop. If you fill a container with water, throw it in the refrigerator, it's just as good, if not better, than regular bottled water. Also, when I was doing my dissolved solids test, I forgot to do bottled water. And with bottled water, for the most part, you're going to get between 20 and 30 total dissolved solids in that bottled water. So with this reverse osmosis, when you're looking at 15 to 20, even less than that sometimes, it's much better. Now, this is just one part of the whole equation, but it's just as good as bottled water. And the cool thing about this is you can save a lot of money by not buying bottled water. You can put it in, say, a large pitcher. Here at the house, we've been using it the last couple of days to fill up our coffee maker in the morning. I use these orange juice jugs. Probably got 10 or 15 of these laying around. I use these to put water in. This is basically my water cup. Put this in the refrigerator, and the water tastes fantastic out of the refrigerator. Now, straight out of the filter, it's room temperature water, so it is what it is. But out of the refrigerator, once it's chilled, it tastes fantastic. So let me go over a few of the pros and cons that I've noticed over the last few days using this. I'll start with the cons first, and then we'll get to we'll end on a positive note. The first con is that it does make a little bit of a noise while that filter is running. And that's because as that filter, it takes that dirty water and puts it into the clean tank, that motor is working, so you can hear it. It's not super annoying. It's not a deal breaker or anything. I don't even notice it anymore after a couple days. And like I said, it only takes about 6 minutes to fill that inner tank, so it's not a huge deal. The second con is it's not for large amounts of water, right? The inner tank is only about 12, 13 cups. So if you're talking about gallons and gallons, you're going to be sitting in front of this machine, hitting the button, refilling the tank, hitting the button, refilling the tank quite a few times. Now, I have put this through the ringer the last few days, and I've probably run 20 gallons through this thing, and it still works great. but it's not for, well, it could be used for that larger quantity stuff, but it's going to take you some time. This is more for the daily use, the emergency use, those things like that. Just some drinking water, maybe get a pot of coffee, maybe put a pitcher of water in the fridge, things like that. That's what this is for. And it does waste some water. Reverse osmosis in general wastes water. Because of the fact that it takes those dissolved solids out and it pushes that dirty water to the side. Now this is also a pro because this machine only wastes about 20% of the water, I believe they say on their website. A lot of reverse osmosis machines or setups, configurations waste a whole lot more than that. So 20% of water isn't really that bad. Now, when you're concerned about an emergency situation, water is short, you don't want to be wasting that water, right? So it's kind of a give and take. You don't necessarily have to throw that water out. It, basically turns it into gray water, flush your toilets, or, store that in a gray water container and make sure and have that set aside and make sure you don't drink it. Although I don't think it would be, super unhealthy. It's just total dissolved solids. Now, if there's chemicals and stuff, who knows? And as far as the pros, like I said, that's one of the pros because it doesn't waste as much water as some of these other systems or configurations do. So pretty cool with that. The next pro with this can be run on 30 watts of power, meaning in an emergency situation, the grid's down, you have no electricity. If you have a small little generator or you've got a battery bank or some way to generate a little bit of electricity, this runs on 30 watts of power. Now, how many amp hours that equals out to really depends on how much you use it. If you are filtering gallons of water, if you're using it constantly, you're going to use more amp hours. But just for a night or two emergency power outage out when you're camping or whatever in your RV, you can hook this up to an emergency or a portable generator, and you're going to be able to run this with no problem at all. So that's a great feature with this, is the relatively low amount of energy that it uses. And another thing that I like about this water filter is that the filter replacements themselves are pretty reasonable. The carbon filter or the composite filter, I think, is around $20. The reverse osmosis filter itself is around $40. So compared to some filters, that's pretty reasonable. Now it's a little bit more expensive than what some of the other ones you might find, but it is cheaper than some of the other ones you might find as well. So to give or take, but for $120, $130 a year, that's really not bad. These filters last 6 months, so you replace them twice a year and you're good to go. So really not that bad. What I plan on doing is getting a set that I'm going to just store away and have for an emergency situation where I know that they haven't been used, they haven't been touched, and they're brand new. These ones, like I said, I've put a 20 or so gallons through these ones, and I put some dirty water through it. So I'll probably use these for a few weeks, and then I'll replace them with some nice clean ones. And then I'll just switch those out, but I'll always keep that extra set just on the side for an emergency situation. So all in all, I'm very pleased with this unit. It's a very cool unit. Looks nice on the countertop. Something that I'm going to be using for quite a while. Now, if in the next couple of months something does happen, I will make sure and do an update video. I don't see that happening, and I hope it doesn't because I really like this. But if something does happen, I will make sure and update everyone here on the channel. But like I said, it's quality made, it's a quality company, it's just a good filter, so I don't foresee anything like that happening. But if you have any questions, anything I didn't answer here, you can either get a hold of the people at SimPure, go to their website and contact them, or ask me. I've done quite a bit of research on this and reverse osmosis in general. You can ask me and I will try to get you the answer, or I will reach out to them. But pretty cool filter and a pretty good, pretty good solution for some sort of disaster, grid down, emergency type situation. So with that, I am done here today. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave a comment below. If you like the video, make sure and subscribe. Hit the like button. But with that, we will talk to everyone later. Take care and prepare.